always have your camera or your camera phone on you because you never know when you will find the perfect cherry blossom tree. Hello friends! The topic of today's video might be very useful for those of you who plan to visit Korea, be it for a short trip or for a long-term stay. And that is the Korean climate. Knowing what kind of weather awaits you in the country that you plan to visit is really essential because not only will it let you know what clothes to prepare, but also what kind of equipment or what kind of mindset can make you have an easier time adapting to your new environment. As you might already know, Korea has 4 distinct seasons, that being spring, summer, autumn, and winter. So depending on where you're from in the world, that might already be a difference for you. As I'm from Germany, I also have experienced all 4 seasons my whole life. However, the seasons in Germany are a bit different from the ones in Korea. So today I want to share with you my special insight on how to really adapt to the Korean weather and how to make the most out of each season. So let's start with spring, shall we? Spring in Korea usually goes from March to May, and it is my favorite season. You can see how the world turns green, the new leaves of the trees, the new flowers coming out of the ground. So I really like it. And of course, Korea is one of the countries where you can truly enjoy the cherry blossom trees, as well as plum blossom trees and other flower trees. So at the peak of the cherry blossom season, which usually is in the first or second week of April, wherever you go, you can see people having photo shoots, the clothes in the stores suddenly have cherry blossom designs, and even a lot of cafes offer cake or drinks that are kind of cherry blossom themed. I personally cannot get enough of the beautiful blossom trees, so I'm always sad to see them go. So my tips for people coming to Korea in springtime is: first, always have your camera or your camera phone on you because you never know when you will find the perfect cherry blossom tree. And also, although it is pretty nice during the day, the mornings and the evenings still get really cold during spring. So always have a light jacket or even a heavy one on you because it really does get cold as soon as the sun is gone. So moving from my favorite season to my least favorite season, we have summer. As a disclaimer, I never liked summer. I don't like getting too hot, and in winter, if it's cold, you can always put one more layer of clothing on, but in summer, you cannot take off any more clothes at one point, Anyway, Korean summer usually goes from June to August, and while the weather is pretty nice in June with temperature around 20-25 degrees, July and August are seriously hot. One thing that factors into that is the monsoon season that usually is around the start of July, although it varies every year. For example, last year we had almost 6 weeks of monsoon rain, so we had huge floodings all over the country. But this year it was only about 2 weeks, so much shorter. However, during this time, not only does it, as the name might tell you, rain like a monsoon, so sometimes it's rain all day, sometimes it's really sudden, like a sudden downpour that just really drenches everyone who is outside. And of course, it gets really humid. The air pressure during that time is also all over the place, so a lot of people experience migraines during monsoon season. My number 1 tip for traveling during monsoon season is don't do it. There's so much nice weather in Korea. Why would you come during monsoon season? No, but really, if you're here during the monsoon season, never ever forget your umbrella. That is one important thing. And also, I would advise you to wear shoes that you don't mind getting ruined. To be honest, if you're going outside, your whole body probably will get drenched through the rain and the wind. So yeah, it's better to wear a pair of shoes that you don't have that much attachment to because they will get drenched and soggy and might fall apart. However, the real summer does not start until monsoon season is over. While it is really humid during monsoon season, it also brings the temperature down a little bit, which is nice. But after the rain is gone, the temperature jumps up to 35 to 40 degrees. This year, I think we had a pretty long heat season. I think it was about 3 weeks where the temperature was between 38 and 40 degrees. But even now in the second week of August, we still have 32 to 34 degrees of temperature. If you are someone who loves summer, this is the high time for you because it's not as humid anymore, but we have the beautiful clear skies, really sunny weather, and yeah, hot temperatures. But even if you're more like me and cannot really stand the summer heat, the Korean people have come up with some great inventions to get over the summer heat. The first thing that will help you beat the heat in Korea are summer accessories. You can find a lot of really cute parasols, you know, the sun umbrellas, which give you nice shade everywhere in Korea. There's a bunch of portable fans, so you have the hand fans, which you just hold in your hand and they cool you down. Nowadays there's also I call them headphone fans. I don't know what their official name is, but you put them around your neck, they kind of look like headphones, and they will cool you automatically without you having to hold on to something. And of course there's the traditional Korean paper fan that you can also use to cool yourself down. Another way to keep cool is to eat some cool summer dishes, for example naengmyeon, which is a cold noodle soup and super delicious. There's also kungguksu, which is a broth made out of beans. And of course we cannot forget about bingsu, the shaved ice cream. My favorite one is the apple mango bingsu, but there are different fruit versions as well as some chocolatey goodness. Moving on to the next season, autumn. Autumn in Korea usually lasts from September to November. This season again is very beautiful. When you had the cherry blossoms in spring, you have the foliage in autumn. Many trees in Korea don't just turn yellow or brown when autumn comes around, but a really rich blood red color. It might sound scary, but it actually looks absolutely gorgeous. And especially if you go hiking in the mountains in Korea or visit one of the Korean Buddhist temples or the Korean palaces, you can see the traditional architecture being built with a reddish wood. And the red leaves just mix with that beautifully. So I would definitely recommend checking out some nature spots if you visit Korea in autumn. Similar to spring, it is usually pretty warm during the day, but in the evening, once the sun is gone, it gets colder again, so don't forget your light jacket. And last but not least, we have winter from December to February. Although it gets pretty cold everywhere in the country in winter, if you're living in Seoul, you probably won't see a lot of snow building up. I think in the 5 years that I lived here, only 2 years had snow that actually stayed for a day or two. But usually because the city is so hot because of all the cars and people, yeah, it doesn't really build up to a huge blanket of snow, but you can see snow falling down pretty much every year, I would say. Still, if you're into skiing, this is the time for you because the areas around Seoul have huge skiing resorts where you can go ski or skateboard or just enjoy the winter wonderland atmosphere. In my experience, winter is between -15 to -30 degrees Celsius, so it can get pretty cold. I would say the last winter was actually somewhat mild, but the winter before that was so cold that I think I saw on the news that it was colder than Siberia. I guess that's one of the reasons why long paddings are a trend in Korea. If you're staying in Korea a longer time in winter, I would definitely recommend investing into a long padding. Not only does it look super cute like a little penguin, but you will be thankful to have it. I don't know if it's because Korea has the ocean on 3 of its sides, so there's a lot of ocean wind, but the wind is just brutal in winter. So I definitely recommend, apart from the long padding, to wear a big scarf, maybe a hat to cover your face up as much as possible, because the wind will cut into your face, it will ruin your skin, it will dry you out. So yeah, you have to protect yourself. That's why winter is also a high season for skincare, because of course the cold weather, the wind, the heating, they all dry out your skin. So yeah, that's a time where you will need a lot of skin lotions, face masks and stuff like that. Still, I really enjoy winter because it's just so cozy to zip yourself up in your long padding or use one of the electric heating blankets in your bed and then go to sleep, and it's the best feeling. So as long as you bundle up, hydrate your skin, and have an electric heating blanket in your house, you should be all set for winter in Korea. One tip I want to give you for all of the seasons is to look out for seasonal food. In Korea, some really great foods and snacks are related to a season, which can be because of a holiday, because the ingredients only go during that time, or just because of the temperature. And you don't want to miss out on any of them. So no matter what season you come to Korea, you should always look out for the seasonal menus in any restaurant that you go to. In Korean, it might say 계절 menu or something along those lines, and that means that that dish is only available during a certain season. Those dishes tend to be the freshest and most delicious ones, so yeah, keep that in mind when you come to Korea. I think that's it for my seasonal travel tips for Korea. I hope you found today's video helpful. Let me know in the comments below what kind of climate you have in your home country and during which season you would like to visit Korea the most. I'll see you next time. Until then, stay happy and healthy. Bye bye!